In today's Ugly News, we're going to be taking a look at some of the most influential beauty brands of 2024 and how somehow, according to this poll, Kim Kardashian's skin was more influential than Hailey Bieber's road. We'll come on to that. But in the latest of fear-mongering news, did you know that your fragrance could have hidden health risks? Supposedly, we all know where this is going. According to experts, phthalates, a common ingredient found in perfumes, in fragrance, and personal care products, has potential links to heart issues, obesity, and infertility. Now, what are phthalates? Well, phthalates are a group of chemicals used to make fragrances last longer and improve product flexibility. But while they enhance your favorite products, according to these experts, they might also be impacting your health in ways you didn't expect, because they're probably not. The health risks, according to Dr. Shanna Swan, an environmental and reproductive epidemiologist, phthalates are endocrine disruptors. They interfere with hormones that regulate nearly everything in the body, from metabolism to fertility. Dr. Leonardo Trasande, a professor of pediatrics and environmental medicine, explains exposure to these chemicals can lead to weight gain and increased risk of type 2 diabetes. Over time, this can escalate to more severe conditions like heart disease. Dr. Swan goes on to say, we're seeing a global decline in fertility rates, and phthalates could be playing a significant role. And apparently these phthalates don't just affect adults. In children, exposure has been associated with early puberty in girls and potential developmental delays. What's particularly worrying is the impact on DNA in sperm. These changes could affect future generations. Despite these findings, the FDA maintains that the levels of phthalates in cosmetics are generally safe. However, these experts argue that the problem lies in cumulative exposure. It's not just one product, it's the dozens we use daily, says Dr. Swan. This consistent exposure adds up, increasing the overall risk. Now, I don't mean to laugh, but me, a humble influencer, should not know more than Dr. Swan. Let me just tell you now, when toxicologists look at phthalate levels in your cosmetics, they take into consideration every single possibility of phthalate exposure throughout your day, throughout your lifestyle. And we'll talk about this more, but that's why they put in the absolute minimum amount of phthalates, that even if you had the same amount of phthalates in every single thing you touch throughout the day, you'd still be safe. There is no adding up exposure. So what can you do to reduce your risk to these really dangerous phthalates in your fragrances and not become obese from it? These doctors recommend choosing fragrance-free products, opt for unscented shampoos and lotions, and cleaning products too. Dr. Trasande says that fragrance is often a catch-all term that can hide harmful chemicals like phthalates. He says read the labels carefully and look out for terms like fragrance or perfume. These often indicate hidden phthalates. They then go on to say you could use online resources like the Environmental Working Group or the EWG. This is where we know it's going to shit, to help you identify safer products. This is where we know things go wrong. Dr. Swan says we have the right to know what we are putting on and into our bodies. By making informed choices, we can protect ourselves and our families from these hidden dangers. So it's important to note here that these doctors, especially Dr. Swan, has admitted that they get their information from the EWG, the Environmental Working Group. Now, several real-life experts have raised concerns about the EWG's scientific methodologies and the potential for misleading information, with key criticisms of the EWG's approach to flawed methodology, including the EWG's Dirty Dozen list, which experts argue that this lacks scientific credibility and may mislead consumers. A study published in the Journal of Toxicology found that the methodology used by the EWG does not accurately assess risk and may cause unnecessary alarm. The EWG is often criticized for their lack of context. They often highlight the presence of chemicals without providing context regarding actual risk levels. For instance, their reports may list detectable pesticide residues on like fruit and vegetables, for example, but fail to mention that these levels are typically well below safety thresholds established by regulatory agencies like the Environmental Protection Agency, again, leading to general public misunderstanding and fear-mongering. The EWG are also well known for their data interpretation issues, with critics noticing that EWG's assessment sometimes demonstrates a lack of understanding of chemical properties. For example, the organization has rated sodium cocoyl sulfate with a 0 hazard rating despite it being chemically similar to sodium lauryl sulfate, which received a higher hazard rating. And these inconsistencies suggest a superficial analysis of chemical data, again leading to misunderstanding and fear-mongering about the ingredients in our skincare. Now, not only is there scientific misunderstanding, but there might actually be a potential conflict of interest. The EWG receives funding from organic food companies, leading some to question its objectivity. The organization's promotion of organic products over conventionally grown ones has been criticized as potentially serving the interests of its donors rather than being solely based on scientific evidence, and this also goes into their cosmetic products as well. They are very happy to approve certain products who pay to be EWG verified, approve them as being all safe despite having unsafe ingredients in them. But because the brand are paying to be EWG verified, they're safe. And overall, people are critical of their fear-inducing messaging, with people often saying that the alarmist tone in some of the EWG's communications may deter consumers from purchasing healthy food and cosmetics. So whilst it sounds like these doctors in this article and the EWG's mission is to inform the public about health risks when it comes to the environment and the cosmetics we use, it is not a scientific database, and a doctor should not be referring to it as one. In her article, Endocrine Disruptors in Cosmetics, Jennifer Novakovic, founder of the EcoWell, one of my favorite websites, Instagrams, podcasts, a podcast that focuses on the science of beauty with actual experts, examines this concern that certain cosmetics ingredients may act as endocrine disruptors. She explains that while some chemicals in cosmetics such as parabens, UV filters, and phthalates can activate estrogen receptors in laboratory tests, the concentration of these chemicals used in cosmetics are typically so low, too low to cause any meaningful estrogenic effects in the human body. She also suggests that media sensationalism often amplifies concerns about endocrine disruptors from cosmetics, despite the lack of substantial evidence supporting such claims, as well as articles like this that often talk to experts, doctors, about something that they don't really have any expertise in or have questionable references. She actually did a really great interview, a podcast episode with Lyle Burgoon, I believe his name is Dr. Lyle Burgoon, who is an associate professor at Michigan State University's Institute for Integrative Toxicology, where his research focuses on applied toxicology and risk assessment, civilian mass casualty events, predictive computational toxicology, meta-science in toxicology, examining how study design flaws, pseudo-replication, and sample bias contribute to replication issues in toxicology, impacting safety assessment and regulatory policies. That is an expert you want to listen to when it comes to issues like this. You know how much I love Drunk Elephant? No, I don't hate them. I just not in love with their staff. Drunk Elephant, a renowned skincare brand who have gained massive popularity in the last couple of years, has initiated a voluntary recall of specific batches of 3 products due to an ingredient mix-up during production, with the affected products including Beste No. 9 Jelly Cleanser, Protini Polypeptide Cream, and Lala Retro Whipped Cream. Additionally, sample packets of Lala Retro Whipped Cream found inside the packaging of O Blues Rosy Drops are part of this recall too. But the O Blues Rosy Drops, whatever the fuck they're called, I can't pronounce their names, are not affected. An apparent isolated mix-up between preservatives and surfactants during the production compromised the formulation of these products. Yeah, they got them mixed up. This error led to the inclusion of unlisted ingredients and, in some cases, an absence of necessary preservatives, potentially allowing for microbial growth. So instead of having preservatives, they just got a shitload more surfactants in there. So the Jelly Cleanser, certain batches contain a preservative not listed on the product ingredient list. And whilst this preservative is found commonly in skincare products, especially those clean beauty ones, this preservative, like many paraben alternatives, can cause skin irritation in sensitive individuals, especially at higher levels. While some batches of the Lala Retro Whipped Cream and Protini Polypeptide Cream lack a preservative system. So tests actually revealed the presence of yeast such as Candida parapsilosis and a bacteria related to the bacteria was found. So they ran some tests on these products and bacteria was found in the products. They were actually all microorganisms that are commonly found on the human skin and in the environment, but they can cause infections, particularly in immunocompromised individuals or those with compromised skin. So yeah, you don't want to be putting this stuff in your skin. With Drunk Elephant basically advising advising people to just stop using the products immediately. You can check the lot code to see if your product is part of the affected batch, because, oh my God, I won't just want to throw away, a 60 quid product just in case there was bacteria in it. And you go to their official recall page to get a refund or a replacement. But yeah, I wonder how that happens. What a mistake, you know? What are like the surfactants and preservatives right next to each other and they just pour in at the same time? I don't know how it works. It's the end of the year, so of course people are releasing their list of the most influential beauty brands of 2024. These lists change depending on where you go, but Tracker is probably one of the most trusted and most looked forward to when it comes to beauty reports, and they just dropped their top beauty brand report for 2024. It's packed with some interesting revelations, I must say, with Sephora reigning supreme as the most influential beauty brand in the United States. But what really has some people confused is Kim Kardashian's skin outperformed Hailey Bieber's Rhode Beauty in the rankings. So let's go back a minute. For those unfamiliar, Tracker is the go-to analytics platform for influencer marketing. And every year they rank beauty brands using something called the VIT score. That's visibility, impact, and trust. And it's basically like the Oscars of beauty brand influence. So let's dive into who made the cut and why. It's interesting. As I mentioned, first up, Sephora. They're not just a retailer, they're pretty much like a cultural phenomenon, you know, they're not just a shop. And Tracker highlighted Sephora's incredible VIT score driven by their creative collaborations, celebrity partnerships. They work with TikTokers constantly, established YouTubers, and even Hollywood celebrities to keep their visibility like sky high. And coming in a very close second is Rare Beauty, unsurprisingly. Selena Gomez's brand isn't just another celebrity beauty brand. Again, it's got a cult following. It's a movement. Rare Beauty has mastered the art of inclusivity, not just in their messaging, but in their product formulations too. And they've had some really important viral moments, like the soft pinch liquid blush is still taking over TikTok to this day. This year, they focus heavily on mental health advocacy, tying their mission into every product launch. Selena Gomez really has a winning formula with Rare. But let's talk about Skin by Kim Kardashian, which garnered interest because they were placed higher than Rhode Beauty, with Kim Kardashian somehow proving, no, that's mean, proving once again that her influence is practically unmatched. Despite the alleged decline of the interest into the Kardashian empire, Skin pretty much climbed the ranks with a smart mix of high-end branding, interesting packaging, and top-tier influencer collaborations. Unlike many celebrity brands, Skin targets the luxury beauty market, so they kind of had no choice but to stand out. And this year they really focused on expanding their skincare kits and diving deeper into well aging, resonating with a slightly older and more affluent demographic. Tracker pointed out that Skin's collaborations with really popular influencers like Michaela and content creators in the 25 to 35 age range gave the brand an edge this year, whilst trying to keep their campaigns aspirational but still accessible, which is kind of like the sweet spot in the beauty market right now. I'm not gonna lie, I have heard and seen absolutely nothing about Skin in the last year. The last time I even saw one of their products was when they were sat in front of me because I was reviewing them. Since then, I've not seen a single thing about them. And then there's Rhode Beauty, Hailey Bieber's brand. Didn't do poorly, it actually performed really well, ranking in the top 20, but couldn't quite keep pace with Skin. Why, you ask, and so do many others, and how does this make sense? Tracker suggests that Rhode's product line, while very much loved, is still pretty limited. They rely heavily on just a few hero products, like the peptide glazing fluid and their cult favorite lip peptide treatments. It's a solid strategy, but it lacks the breadth and versatility of Skin's offerings, according to Tracker. Another challenge that they raise could be that Rhode leans into the youthful minimalist vibe, which may have limited their reach. Skin, on the other hand, casts a wider net by appealing to both millennials and Gen Z, apparently. That being said, Hailey Bieber's reimagining of old beauty trends like glazed donut skin, pretty much being glass skin, and renaming trends after bits of fruit on her face, dominates TikTok still to this day, so there's plenty of room for Rhode to grow. But I had to do my own research, and whilst there's no exact public data available, it seems that Rhode is more financially successful than Skin, which goes to show it probably is actually the more popular brand. Other brands that made the top 10 include L'Oreal, which is of course a household name, really driving popularity with influencer-driven campaigns and drugstore accessibility. Charlotte Tilbury also climbing the ranks thanks to their viral beauty hacks and the success of their airbrush flawless collection. Overall, this year's tracker report highlights one big takeaway, which is the power of authenticity. Brands like Rare Beauty and Rhode thrive on relatability, while Sephora and Skin dominate with aspirational marketing. The key is knowing the audience and delivering what they want, whether that's a luxury skincare or a viral blush moment. It's knowing the audience, right? And knowing how to work TikTok by the sounds of it. And finally, old news now, but I was looking for an update, then realized I hadn't actually talked about this at all. But imagine this, you are a TikToker with hundreds of thousands of followers, allegedly shoplifting from Target, not once, but twice, and then posting about it online. Marlena Valles, a 22-year-old vlogger from Cape Coral, Florida, with over 400,000 followers on TikTok, shares like snippets of her life focusing on parenting, home decor, beauty and fashion hauls, that kind of stuff, you know, like lifestyle stuff. But in October of 2024, things took a bit of a turn when she was arrested for allegedly stealing over $500 worth of merchandise from a Target store in Cape Coral. What a nice name, Cape Coral. Authorities claim that she used fake barcodes at the self-checkout to underpay for items. Surveillance footage capturing a woman matching her description during the incident kind of shows this too. And here's where it gets interesting, right? On the same day of the alleged theft, Marlena posted a get ready with me video on TikTok wearing the exact outfit seen in the surveillance footage, and in the video she documents her trip to Target, selecting items and placing them in her car. And this post played a pivotal role in her identification. After the incident, the Cape Coral Police Department sought the public's help in identifying her, the suspect in the camera footage, and an anonymous tipster recognized Marlena from her social media and provided her details to the authorities. This led to her arrest on charges of petty theft. She was booked into the Lee County Jail and later released on a $150 bond, but the story doesn't end there. Fast forward to November the 20th of 2024, and Marlena was arrested again for allegedly stealing $225 worth of goods from the same Target store. This time, she reportedly used a fake barcode at self-checkout. Again, surveillance footage showed a man with a distinctive arm tattoo accompanying her, a tattoo that appears in some of Marlena's TikTok videos. News of her second arrest spread rapidly all throughout TikTok, super quick, sparking discussions about the ethics of influencers and the consequences of sharing incriminating content online. Don't know why it sparked like conversation, because it's just stupidity. And this should remind people everywhere wanna-be alleged criminals that sharing everything of our lives in this digital age where we're already being filmed everywhere as well can lead to unintended consequences, with oversharing in Marlena's case leading to legal implications. As of now, Marlena faces charges of petty theft and the legal proceedings are ongoing, and this story continues to develop, and I'll try and keep you updated, but again, I forgot this story ever existed. But yeah, I was looking for an update and there doesn't seem to be one. But just in case you didn't know, that happened. Let me know what you think about today's stories in the comments down below. You could watch some more When Beauty Turns Ugly, some ugly news here as well, and I'll see you next time.